There are moments in life when the weight feels too heavy to carry, the people you trusted disappear, the plans you built fall apart, the prayers you prayed seem unanswered, you look around and wonder, where is God in all of this? It feels like He's gone silent. It feels like He's forgotten about you, but that silence doesn't mean absence. That pain you feel, that confusion, that heartbreak, that pressure, it's not punishment. It's preparation. God is still working, even when it feels like nothing is moving. See, everybody can see God in the blessings. When the job comes through, when the money's right, when the door opens, when everything makes sense, that's easy. But the real question is, can you still see Him when nothing's working? Can you still trust Him when it's dark, when it's quiet, when you can't trace His hand but you have to trust His heart? Because that's where faith is born, not in the mountaintop moments, but in the valleys where you have no control and no clarity, only trust. The lows of life are the training grounds of the soul. God does His best work in the dark, when you can't see the outcome, when you can't understand the process. He's shaping your character, building your endurance, teaching you how to lean on Him and not on your own strength. The pain you're in right now, it's not wasted. Every tear, every disappointment, every sleepless night, He's using it. You might not see it today, but one day you'll look back and realize that what broke you also built you. Sometimes God allows the storm not to destroy you, but to develop you. Because if He gave you what you prayed for before you were ready, it could crush you. So instead of delivering you from the storm, He strengthens you through the storm. You see, God's blessing isn't always in what He gives, sometimes it's in what He takes away. Sometimes the setback is saving you. Sometimes the closed door is protection. Sometimes the delay is divine timing. And I get it, it hurts. It hurts to not understand. It hurts to see others win while you're still waiting. It hurts to give your all and see no results. But pain has a purpose. Pain has a voice. It's God's way of saying, I'm not done with you yet. You might feel like you've been buried, but maybe you've just been planted. Seeds grow in the dark, and in due season, when the time is right, you'll rise stronger, wiser, closer to God than ever before. The enemy wants you to believe that pain means abandonment, that because things didn't go as planned, God must have left you. But let me tell you, His presence is not measured by how good your life feels. His presence is proven by the fact that even in the lowest valley, you're still standing, you're still breathing, you still have a heartbeat, and that means He's not finished. That means there's still a plan. That means purpose is still alive inside of you. Don't despise your dark season. Don't rush your healing. Don't curse what God is using to change you. Because when the pain finally passes, and it will, you'll see that every trial had meaning. Every disappointment pushed you closer to purpose. Every loss taught you how to lean on faith and not on feeling. God was never absent. He was active the whole time, working behind the curtain, rearranging your path, protecting you from things you didn't even know were coming. You don't need to understand everything right now. You just need to hold on, keep showing up, keep believing, keep praying, because sometimes God hides His greatest blessings in your greatest battles. The same valley you're crying in today could be the foundation of the testimony you'll share tomorrow. So even when you're hurting, even when the lights go out, even when it feels like hope is fading, look for God in the lows. Because that's where He reveals who He truly is. Not just the God who blesses, but the God who builds. Not just the God who answers, but the God who anchors. The God who takes your pain and turns it into power. Because yes, God is still working in your pain. You might not see it, you might not feel it, but He's working. And when it's all said and done, you'll realize the lows didn't break you, they built you into exactly who you were meant to become. There comes a time when life hits you so hard that it leaves you shattered. The people you thought would stand by you vanish. The plans you built crumble to pieces. You wake up one morning and realize nothing looks like what you imagined. You're broken, not just on the outside, but deep within. But I need you to hear this truth: being broken doesn't mean you've been beaten. Brokenness isn't your ending, it's your awakening. Sometimes God allows things to fall apart so He can rebuild you into something stronger than before. See, the world teaches us to hide our brokenness, to act like we've got it all together. But God doesn't use perfect people, He uses honest ones. He uses the ones who have been through something, the ones who have fallen and still got back up. Because when you've been broken, you learn compassion, you learn empathy, you learn how to love deeper, how to serve better, how to live with humility. There's power in being broken because it strips away the pride and reveals what's real. When you're broken, you discover what can't be taken from you: your faith, your spirit, your endurance. That's what the enemy can't destroy. You might lose the job, the relationship, the opportunity, the plan, but you still have your heartbeat. You still have your breath. You still have a reason to keep going, and that means the story isn't over. Broken doesn't mean useless. It means you've been tested. It means you've endured something that could have destroyed you, but it didn't. Some of the most beautiful things in life come from brokenness. Think about it: a seed must break before it can grow. A diamond forms under pressure. Gold is refined through fire. Even light shines through cracks. So maybe what you see as your breaking point is actually your breakthrough point. Maybe what you thought was the end is simply the beginning of who you're becoming. God's not done with you, He's reshaping you. You just can't see the masterpiece while you're still inside the mess. And I know it's easy to lose faith when life hurts. It's easy to look around and say, why me? But sometimes the breaking is God's way of releasing what you were never meant to carry. Maybe you were holding on to people who couldn't go where God's taking you. Maybe you were chasing things that were never part of your purpose. So He broke the illusion, He broke the attachment, He broke the comfort so you could step into your calling. That's not cruelty, that's grace in disguise. You see, real strength doesn't come from pretending you're okay. It comes from trusting that even though you're hurting, God is healing you. It comes from standing on shaky ground and still choosing to believe there's purpose in your pain. You don't have to be perfect to keep walking, you just have to keep walking. The victory isn't in avoiding the break, it's in refusing to stay broken. Every scar you carry is proof that you survived something that tried to destroy you. It's proof that grace carried you when strength couldn't. Don't hide your scars, they tell your story. Somebody needs to see them. Somebody needs to hear that you made it through. Because when you share what broke you, you give others permission to heal too. There's a beauty in brokenness that the world can't understand because it's not about what you lost. It's about what you gained in faith, in wisdom, in character. God takes the pieces that the world calls useless and crafts them into something divine. He doesn't throw you away when you're broken, He rebuilds you in a way that nothing and no one can ever shatter again. So if you're in that place right now on the floor, feeling like you've got nothing left, don't quit. Don't let the darkness convince you it's over. Every great comeback starts in the low place. Every strong warrior was once wounded. Every testimony was once a trial. You're not finished, you're being formed. When you finally rise again, and you will rise, you'll see that the breaking wasn't the end. It was the beginning of a deeper relationship with God, a clearer understanding of who you are, and a stronger version of the person you were always meant to be. Broken doesn't mean beaten, it means chosen. It means God trusted you enough to carry something heavy because He knew you could handle it. So lift your head, wipe your tears, breathe again. You may be broken, but you are not defeated. You are being rebuilt piece by piece, day by day, by the same God who turns pain into power and ruins into resurrection. Because when you look for God in the lows, you realize He never left. He's been there all along, rebuilding, restoring, and reminding you that broken is not the end. It's where the miracle begins. There are moments in life when your feelings will lie to you. They'll tell you you're not enough. They'll whisper that God has forgotten you. They'll convince you that the pain will never end, that the situation will never change, that all your effort was for nothing. But feelings are temporary, faith is eternal. Feelings shift with the wind, but faith stands firm in the storm. Faith is not built on what you see, it's built on what you believe when you can't see anything at all. When everything's going right, faith feels easy. When doors open, when blessings flow, when prayers are answered, it's natural to praise God. But real faith, the kind that changes lives, shows up when you're surrounded by darkness. It's in those moments when you don't feel God's presence that He's testing if you'll still trust His promise. Because faith isn't about emotion, it's about decision. It's choosing to believe even when every part of you wants to give up. You can't build faith in comfort. You build it in the cold nights when no one's clapping for you. You build it when you're crying yourself to sleep, wondering if all this pain is even worth it. You build it when life doesn't make sense, but you keep walking anyway. Faith says, even if I don't understand, I still trust you. Faith says, even if the outcome doesn't look like what I prayed for, I believe you're still good. Faith says, even when I don't feel you, I know you're here. God never promised us a life without pain. He promised his presence through the pain. Sometimes the reason he feels distant is because he's inviting you to lean deeper into trust, to depend not on emotion but on endurance. Because if your faith only works when you feel strong, it's not faith, it's comfort. But when your faith holds steady while your feelings are falling apart, that's when it becomes powerful. That's when it becomes real. Feelings are like waves, they come and go. One day you feel hopeful, the next you feel broken. One moment you're motivated, the next you're empty. But faith says, no matter what I feel, I'm anchored. Faith is the decision to stay when everything in you wants to run. Faith is waking up each day, facing the same mountain and saying, I still believe it's going to move. Because sometimes the greatest act of faith is not shouting in victory, it's whispering in weakness, God, I still trust you. When life gets heavy, your emotions will tempt you to quit. They'll tell you to stop praying, stop believing, stop hoping. But faith is what keeps you standing when everything else falls apart. It's what turns tears into strength and waiting into worship. You might not feel like praising God in your pain, but that's exactly when praise becomes the most powerful, because it's pure. It's not based on what you're getting, it's based on who He is. Faith over feelings means you walk even when you can't see the road ahead. It means you forgive when you're still hurting. It means you show up even when nobody notices. It means you keep planting seeds even when the ground looks dry, because you know that your feelings may say, this is over, but faith says, God's not finished. There's a peace that comes when you stop chasing feelings and start standing on faith. Because faith reminds you that God's silence is not His absence. His delays are not His denials. Sometimes He withholds answers to build your dependence. Sometimes He lets you walk through fire to show you He's with you in it. He's not always going to calm the storm. Sometimes He'll strengthen you to face it. That's faith. So when your heart feels heavy and your emotions are out of control, take a step back and remind yourself, feelings are visitors, but faith is home. Don't let a temporary emotion make you question an eternal promise. Your feelings are real, they just aren't always right. Faith is what tells you the truth when your emotions can't see past the pain. And maybe that's what God is teaching you right now, that your faith has to be stronger than your frustration, that your belief has to outlast your feelings, because one day, when the storm clears and you look back, you'll see that faith carried you through what feelings would have made you quit. So the next time you feel alone, the next time you're overwhelmed, the next time life doesn't go your way, remember this. Your feelings may say God left, but your faith says He's right here. Your feelings may say you've failed, but your faith says you're being refined. Your feelings may say it's over, but your faith says this is just the beginning. Faith over feelings, it's the decision to keep believing, keep trusting, and keep walking even when your heart is tired. Because one day, when the light returns, you'll realize that faith was never about feeling something, it was about knowing something. Knowing that no matter what comes or goes, no matter how dark it gets, God is still in control. And that's enough. Everybody loves the mountaintop moments, the victories, the answered prayers, the breakthroughs, the celebrations. But the truth is, you don't grow on the mountaintop. You admire the view there, you celebrate there, but you don't develop there. Real growth happens in the valleys, in the places where you're tested, stretched, and stripped of comfort. The valley is where character is built, where faith is refined, where your trust in God becomes more than words. The valley is that place where life doesn't make sense. You pray and nothing changes. You give your best and still fall short. You're surrounded by silence, wondering if God even hears you. But it's in that silence that He's working the most. The valley isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's the classroom where God teaches you what the mountaintop can't. You can't learn endurance in ease. You can't develop resilience without resistance. The valley is where God shapes your soul to carry the weight of the blessings ahead. When everything feels heavy and uncertain, it's easy to question, why am I going through this? But sometimes the valley is the only path that leads to your purpose. You can't skip the process and expect to be prepared for the promise. God uses the low places to show you what's inside you, your strength, your grit, your faith. Because the truth is, you don't know how strong you are until strong is the only choice you've got. The valley humbles you. It makes you depend on God in ways you never had to before. When you're on the mountain, it's easy to think you did it on your own. But in the valley, there's no pretending, it's just you, your pain, and your faith. That's where you learn how to pray from your heart, not your lips. That's where you discover that God's presence isn't proven by comfort, but by peace that doesn't make sense. The valley teaches you to walk by faith, not by sight, because there's nothing to see, only something to believe. The beautiful thing about the valley is that it's temporary. You weren't meant to live there forever, you were meant to learn there. Every valley has an exit, but you can't rush through it. If you try to escape too early, you miss the lesson. If you keep your eyes only on the pain, you miss the purpose. God doesn't waste valleys. He uses them to make sure that when you reach the mountaintop again, you'll know how to handle it. Because a blessing you're not ready for can become a burden. That's why the valley exists, to prepare your spirit before He promotes your life. You might feel like everything has slowed down, like nothing's moving, but that's exactly where transformation begins. Growth doesn't happen overnight. It happens in hidden seasons. It happens when nobody's watching, when you're sowing in silence, when you're crying in prayer. The roots of your strength grow deeper in the dark. Just because you can't see the growth doesn't mean it's not happening. Even when it looks like nothing is changing, God is cultivating something within you: patience, discipline, gratitude, and grace. When you're in the valley, don't compare your journey to someone else's mountain. Everybody has a valley. You just can't always see it. Some people hide it behind smiles, behind success, behind noise. But trust this: every strong person you admire has been through a valley that almost broke them. The only difference is they didn't quit. They trusted that the same God who allowed them to walk into it would bring them out stronger on the other side. So when you find yourself in a low place, when the light feels dim, when your prayers feel unanswered, when your heart feels heavy, don't despise it. Don't rush it, embrace it. Ask God, what are you trying to teach me here? Because if you let Him, He'll take that valley and turn it into a victory. He'll take your weakness and reveal His strength. The very ground that felt like defeat will become the soil for your next growth. One day, when you stand on the mountain again, you'll realize that it was the valley that made you. It was the valley that gave you perspective, humility, and endurance. It was the valley that taught you how to trust God even when you couldn't trace Him. You'll look back and say, that low place, that's where I found Him the most. Because the truth is, the valley isn't the opposite of growth, it's the evidence of it. You can't bloom without being buried. You can't rise until you've been pressed. The valley refines, reshapes, and redefines you into the person you were always meant to be. So don't curse your valley, thank God for it, because that's where He's building your foundation for the next season of your life. Growth happens in the valleys, not in comfort, not in ease, but in the quiet, painful, stretching moments where you learn who God is and who you really are. And when you finally rise from that valley, you'll carry a strength that can't be shaken, a peace that can't be stolen, and a faith that can't be broken. Pain changes you. It leaves marks you can't always see and lessons you can't forget. It shakes the ground beneath you and forces you to face parts of yourself you never knew existed. But pain is not meant to destroy you, it's meant to develop you. Every hurt, every heartbreak, every loss carries a message from God saying, I'm building something in you. When you learn to stop running from your pain and start learning from it, that's when it becomes purpose. The truth is, pain will visit all of us. Nobody escapes it. You can't pray away every storm or avoid every heartbreak. But what separates people who grow from those who give up is what they do with their pain. You can let it harden your heart, or you can let it open your eyes. You can let it make you bitter, or you can let it make you better. Because pain is inevitable, but purpose is a choice. You decide what the suffering will mean. Sometimes the very thing that breaks you is the thing that builds the best version of you. God doesn't waste pain. He doesn't allow wounds without working healing through them. But you've got to be willing to let Him use it. You've got to stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Because every painful chapter is preparation for the story He's writing through your life. Pain has a strange way of becoming your greatest teacher. It teaches humility, it teaches empathy, it teaches gratitude. When you've walked through fire, you see life differently. You stop taking small moments for granted. You start appreciating peace, people, and presence in a way comfort never could have taught you. The same pain that tried to take you out can become the very reason you rise. Maybe the reason God allowed you to go through that heartbreak, that loss, that disappointment, was because someone else will one day need to hear how you overcame it. Your story might be the lifeline someone else is praying for. There's someone out there who won't believe healing is possible until they see what God did through you. That's purpose when your scars become someone else's source of strength, when your pain becomes a bridge for another person's breakthrough. Turning pain into purpose doesn't mean you deny the hurt. It means you redeem it. It means you take what was meant to destroy you and use it to empower others. It means you refuse to let the enemy win by turning your pain into praise. Every time you share your story, every time you keep going when you could have quit, you remind the world that faith is greater than failure. You remind them that grace is stronger than grief. Pain refines your vision. It helps you see what really matters. It strips away the noise, the ego, the distractions, and brings you back to the basics: faith, love, service, purpose. It's in those dark seasons where God whispers, "Now that I've got your attention, let's build something eternal." And from that moment on, you stop living for comfort and start living for calling, because you realize the mission was never about being safe, it was about being significant. When you find purpose in your pain, you become unstoppable. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being a vessel for God's glory. The same hands that trembled in fear begin to move in faith. The same heart that once hurt begins to heal others. You understand that your story isn't over, it's just beginning, and I know it's hard. It's hard to look at the scars and believe they can mean something good. It's hard to trust that the worst thing that ever happened to you could become the most powerful part of your testimony. But that's what God does. He specializes in turning pain into power, ashes into beauty, defeat into destiny. What the enemy meant for harm, God will always use for good, always, so don't hide your pain. Don't bury it, don't let shame silence it, let it speak. Let it remind you how far you've come. Let it push you to love harder, give deeper, live freer, because your pain has purpose, not in spite of what happened, but because of what happened. Every tear you've cried has watered the ground for new growth. Every setback has set the stage for a comeback. Every low moment has drawn you closer to the one who never left your side. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the pain you thought would break you was the very thing that birthed your purpose. You'll stand in front of people who are where you once were and say, "I made it through." You'll speak with authority not because you read about pain, but because you lived it. And in that moment, you'll understand why God let you walk through what you did, not to punish you, but to prepare you. To prepare you to help others find Him in their lows, just like you did, because that's what it's all about: turning your pain into purpose, taking what once hurt you and using it to heal the world, letting your wounds become windows that let His light shine through. You don't need a perfect life to make an impact, you just need a redeemed one. So lift your head, stand tall, tell your story, let your pain preach. Because every time you choose purpose over pity, heaven rejoices. Every time you turn your scars into service, you're proving that God's grace is real. Pain is powerful, but purpose is greater. And when you give your pain to God, He turns it into something eternal. That's the miracle hidden in the low places, that even in what hurt you most, He was preparing you for what matters most.